Hello friends, and welcome to another journal with me. Today's a little different as I'll be making some spreads about my trip to Italy last summer. Then I'll be sharing with you my footage from the trip after I've created each spread. So you'll finally get to see what I did in Rome and Florence. So as you can see, I'm starting with one of my spreads here, and I saved some tickets and things from the trip and lots of different bits of ephemera, and I saved this ticket from the Vatican. This was my first place in Italy, our first stop, and we stayed in Rome. It was really beautiful. It was my first time visiting Italy at all, so it was a really fun experience. And we stayed in Rome for about 3 days, I think, and we visited the Vatican, we did the Colosseum and all the ruins. We just wandered around the city and saw all the tourist spots like the Spanish Steps and the palace and things. But yeah, we spent a whole day in the Vatican because obviously it's huge. Here you can see on the map, I'm just pointing out where we were staying. So we were so close to the Colosseum and the Roman Forum because we stayed in an Airbnb. And opposite our Airbnb was actually parts of the Roman Forum. So we're in a really good spot in Rome. And I would have to say Rome was a really beautiful city. I don't think it was my favourite place we stayed in Italy, but it was definitely second place. It was very chaotic, but there's so much to see, and it's just insane how big all the buildings are and how extravagant everything is, and to think of how long ago it was all built. So that side really intrigued me whilst I was there. And another thing that was definitely a highlight was the food. The food in Rome was incredible. Well, the whole of Italy, it was incredible, but in Rome it was especially good. I had the best carbonara of my life there. So here you'll see me sticking down some bits of the map. So these tourist maps were kind of everywhere in Italy, and you could just get them from free, and our Airbnbs had them as well. So the host kind of circled loads of places that he thought that we should go visit and restaurants and things. So I kept the map with the intention of using it in a journal spread one day, and it only took me 6 months to actually use it and create the spread. But I just started to layer bits of paper, and I wanted to include the Vatican ticket, and I've stuck it next to a cutout of the Vatican from the map as well. So it's all very themed around my trip. I didn't want to cover up too much because as these are travel spreads, I do actually want to write about what I did there, what I enjoyed, so I don't cover up the whole page. But I used some of these girl stickers. Well, it's actually the girl washi tape. I thought that the colour palette of her seemed to go well with the colour palette of the map and the tickets. I guess this one's more a beigey type theme. And then I just kind of used different flower stickers just to add some extra details and create more depth into the spread. One thing I will say is that whilst we were in Italy, it was absolutely boiling. It was when Europe had that massive heat wave, and it was just so warm. So when we spent the day walking around the Roman Forum and the Colosseum, I was literally melting. I had to keep taking so many breaks because it was just so warm. And one good thing about Rome is that they have free drinking water everywhere, and it's all safe to drink, so that was a bonus. I just took a huge water bottle around with me and then filled it up constantly because I was just down in water because it was so warm. It wasn't too bad. I kind of got used to it after a bit. You can see the date that I've put at the top. That was the day that we got to Rome, and the day that we spent at the Vatican was a very long day because there's so much to see there. It was kind of insane. I guess I knew lots about the Vatican, but I didn't really know what to expect inside. Obviously I know like about the famous paintings and stuff, and that was really fun to see the Sistine Chapel and see Michelangelo's painting on the ceiling. That was really cool, and just seeing how extravagant everything was really interesting. But yeah, that is my Rome spread, and then next you will see the footage from my trip. So our next stop in Italy was Florence, and we got the train there. The trains in Italy are really nice, like they're really quick. We stayed in one of the quiet cabins, so it was dead chill, and I just watched loads of YouTube on the way because it was free Wi-Fi, so I was catching up on everyone's pen pal videos whilst I was travelling. But for this one I wanted to go for more of a blue theme. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it's because I had some of the tickets from the Uffizi gallery and it was more like monochrome, so I went for more of a darker theme, and I didn't want to do one similar to my Rome theme, so I wanted to go for a different colour palette. Now this is like a paper scrap that somebody sent me in some PO box mail, and it's got some lovely gold foiling on it. So I'm using this as my main design in this spread. Whilst we were in Florence, I think Florence was definitely my favourite city. It was just so beautiful, everyone was so nice, and everything was just so clean and beautiful. Again, the food was incredible. Whilst we were there as well, we spent pretty much the whole time just looking in all the art galleries. So that made me very happy because it's been a very long time since I've wandered around museums and art galleries, so I had a whale of a time doing that, even though my feet were aching so much by the end of it because everything is just so huge and there's so much to look at. But I would say that was my highlight from the whole trip, just going around Florence and just wandering and looking around at all the art and all the beautiful buildings, because again there was just insane buildings there. So here you see me writing Florence, which is obviously going to be the title of this spread. I think that the word Florence is a really nice name for a city. I think it sums it up well because it sounds like a really beautiful word, and Florence is definitely a very beautiful city. So I decided to put this one in the middle, and using the sticker paper here really made it easier because I could just kind of like shove it down the fold and then it wouldn't bunch up when I folded the paper. So I would recommend using leftover sticker paper if you ever have any to do your lettering, especially in journal spreads, because you can put them on the folds and they won't come off. And then I'm going back in with my blue paper, starting to layer it in the corner as well. And whilst I was in Florence, I did try and find some nice stationery shops, and I did find some, but they were so expensive. Like, I don't know why. It was basically a shop that sold like fountain pens and ink, and they sold some wax seals as well, but the wax seals were like €30, and the designs weren't that unique or anything like that. They were just like letters and things, so I just couldn't justify buying any stationery from that shop because it was just ridiculously expensive. I think everything in there was like very handmade and traditional, which is maybe why the price was so high, but it didn't really like catch my eye that much to pay that much money for it. So I didn't end up buying any stationery whilst I was in Florence, or Rome either. I didn't actually buy any stationery whilst away. I did buy a lot of clothes though instead. Here you'll see one of the tickets, and it's got a picture of the statue of David on, and it was really fun to see the statue of David, and it's kind of impressive how huge it is because I didn't really realise the size of it until I saw it, so that definitely blew my mind a little bit. And it's strange as well seeing all the different statues around Florence. They have lots of like copies of famous statues, and they'll be in the city or like viewing points or big tourist places, so it's fun to see them out in the city as well. And then here I have this like old negative sticker, and I thought it went well with the spread, and it kind of gave me like Italy vibes, Italian summer with the like rustic pictures, and you can see the light coming in, so I really wanted to use this in the spread. I always think that vintage paper is always a good way to fill up spaces in journal spreads and in pen pal letters, so I always have loads to just pick up and use whilst I'm crafting. So I have a little pile of it tied together with a paper clip of just like different scraps that I need to use up. So whenever I'm decorating something, I'll just use those to layer up things, and it gives you a good variety as well because you have lots of different scraps of vintage paper. So some of them are like more white, some of them are more like aged and brown and crinkly, so it's a good way to just have it there ready. I'm using the other girl sticker here, well, the washi tape, and I wanted to use this blue girl because, well, the colour basically matches the paper that I'm using as well. So I had two of these tickets, and then I've turned one the other way around and then stuck the girl sticker on top of that. I didn't have loads of bits from Florence that I could use. I didn't have a map or anything like that, so I am just using those tickets to decorate. And then I have this like washi sticker, which is a monochrome one, and I just wanted to use this to cover up some of the space and kind of frame the writing a little bit more as well. And then I'm just adding some more flowers as well, like the other spread, because I want them to be similar but not the same, like different but the same, if that makes sense. So yeah, when you see the footage from Florence, there's not actually loads, and at the end you'll see some from Naples as well, because we went to Pompeii and saw Mount Vesuvius, which was boiling up there. So you'll see those clips as well, and all the things that we did in Florence. So that was my footage from Florence, and I didn't actually record that much from Naples, and I didn't save any things from Naples, so I'm only making a spread for Rome and Florence. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.